For years, we've been told fat makes you fat. Now, from a calorie perspective, this makes sense. If you add up the calories, a gram of fat has double the number of calories that a gram of carbs or protein has. So if you're eating an equal amount of food and it's made up of fat, it's more calorie dense. And since the calories going in have to go somewhere, like your belly, less fat in is clearly the solution to obesity. Gazillions of animal studies confirm fat makes you fat. So, health gurus recommend following a low-fat diet, and food manufacturers worked hard to turn our favorite foods into low-fat options. People followed the guidelines and got fatter. Now, the pendulum is swinging, and the new rhetoric is carbs make you fat, and fats are okay. Once more, this makes sense, not from a calorie perspective, but from a hormonal perspective. When you bite into food with lots of carbs, you evoke an insulin response, hopefully, since insulin's chief job is to put away the groceries. That dollop of insulin puts the body into fat storing mode. And the more fat you store, well, the bigger your belly. Numerous animal studies indicate if you match the calories, high-fat diets perform better than low-fat diets, both in terms of weight and a host of metabolic parameters. So, health gurus are beginning to recommend following a low-carb diet, and food manufacturers have obliged by reformulating our favorite foods into low-carb options. More and more people are following the guidelines. It works for some, for others, not so much. Yes, the animal data is clear. A high-fat diet turns rodents into blobs most of the time. And just like humans, some have good genes and manage to ride out that bad diet. I'm guessing if you're watching this, you're a human who is not blessed with this genetic advantage. Me either. Ouch. But what if the problem is not the macronutrient composition? That is, whether the food item is made of fat or made of carbs. What if the swing factor is something completely different? A team of researchers from Germany asked just this question. Join us for this episode of Better Body Chemistry TV as we discover why you're really getting fat. And those macros, well, maybe they're irrelevant. Better Body Chemistry TV is brought to you by Dr. Sandy, a scientist turned gremlin buster, helping you battle sugar gremlins, heft lumps, and other health horribles through better body chemistry. Remember, small things can make a big difference to your health. Now, when it comes to running scientific experiments, rule number one is you need to compare apples with apples. Scientists have a name for this. It's called the scientific method. Basically, you fiddle with one thing at a time, which on the surface of things looks like what scientists running rodent obesity studies have been doing for the last 50 years. The difference between the diets is the amount of fat. Yes, but ever wondered how you make a high-fat diet? If you just fed the animals cream, which is high fat, they'd be on a low protein diet. You see, cream doesn't have any protein in it. So to keep everything else balanced, you have to mix things up with a big mixer and then extrude out a pellet. Now, thanks to the whipping things up, the macronutrient content of the control and experimental diet is right, and extruding the food into a pellet ensures that the food looks the same. But there is a difference. Grinding up the food in a mixer changes the food texture. Effectively, that control food that is the normal chow is a minimally processed food, while the high fat diet is ultra processed. And this turns out to matter. Our team ran 2 sets of experiments. They took mice and fed them different diets. The mice were allowed to eat whenever they pleased. This is called an ad libitum diet and mimics what most humans do. But they changed up the texture. In the first set of experiments, the mice ate pellets. As expected, the animals on the normal chow were skinny, but the animals chomping down on the high-fat pellets were fatter. And the level of fatness was proportional to the amount of fat. So the diamonds correspond with normal chow, which had 11% fat. The circles correspond with a cafeteria diet, which had a 36% fat content. And the squares correspond with the high-fat diet, which had a 60% fat content. But our researchers did not stop here. They repeated the study. But this time round, they took the pellets and ground them into a powder and served this to their little charges. Here is the data. Everyone got fatter to exactly the same degree. The guys eating the normal chow diet at libitum were no better off. Ouch. Now you might be wondering, how did they manage to do this on a so-called low-calorie diet? Simple. They ate more. Plus, more of what they ate went in. You see, the traditional high-carb diet includes much harder food with a more fibrous character. Now, when something is hard as nails, you have to work harder to extract all the goodies. This involves more chewing and more digesting, both of which use more energy. So the net result is eating becomes a less efficient process. So you put on less weight. Now, in terms of metabolic health, when everyone was eating a soft, highly processed diet, there was not much difference in any of the metabolic parameters measured. The low-fat and high-fat diets both caused fatty liver. Although, for what it's worth, that cafeteria diet, that's what we typically eat, was the worst offender. It seems combining fat and sugar at the same time maximizes the metabolic havoc. The take-home message: food texture matters. If you're eating processed food, whether it be high in carbs or high in fat, it's pretty easy to digest. The calories arrive quickly and easily, and this combination puts you at risk of obesity. To fight back, limit your consumption of ultra-processed foods, period. High fat, high carb, it's semantics. To create better body chemistry, you want to eat real food. Interested in discovering more ways to create better body chemistry or need a little help getting your body chemistry on track? Visit our website at www.betabodychemistry.com. Browse our library or enroll in one of our courses or programs. The advice is simple to follow and based on real science, not hype. Know someone who's tired of obsessing about what foods are made of? Share this video with them so they realize the issue is less about carbs versus fats and more about food texture. And if you enjoyed the video, be sure to subscribe to our channel so you catch future episodes of Better Body Chemistry TV. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Remember, small things can make a big difference to your health.